So today we'll do brows. Before you want to start doing brows, you first apply pressed powder on your brows. Once you're done with that, you go in with your brow gel. You use it to brush the hair. From the front, you're brushing it upwards, and then the back of the brows, you're brushing it downwards. So the front, you're brushing it upwards in such a way that the brows are slipping straight up, facing up, and then the back of the brows, they can be facing down. Once you're done with that, here I'm going to be showing how you can draw your brows with a pencil. So the pencil has to be very sharp, it has to be very edgy. Then you start by drawing the under. When you're starting at the under, you start at the middle. When you want to draw the under, you don't start from the tip of the brow to the end. You start at the middle. Once you are done drawing that, you follow the arc of the brow, and then when you come in front, you are now drawing straight lines. You're drawing strokes. You know how you carved your brows, and the brows were facing up. You're drawing straight lines on top of those brows. Straight lines. You draw straight line, leave more space. Draw straight line, leave more space. Once you're done with that, you come on top, and then you now draw a line on top that can meet with the brow, with the line you drew under. So immediately you're done with that, you draw a line on top that can meet with the brow you drew under. So the brow you're drawing has to follow the original brow, and exactly as I'm doing here, I'm drawing straight lines up. So once I'm done drawing, I'll use my spoolie and I'll brush it up. Then you feel the back of the brow. The front of the brow has to be light, but the back of the brow can be thick. Once you're done with that, you go in with your concealer. You use very light shade of concealer, not too light, but very light, lighter than the client's skin tone. And then you use foundation. So the foundation will be used at the tip of this brow, and then the lighter shades will be used behind. So you can lift the head up. So you put your head on top of the skull and you lift the brow up. So you're following the arc. You have to make sure you're following the arc. This is the end result of this brow. But because it's not detailed, I have put in another video in here so you can see exactly how to conceal your brows. So once you're done with everything, you have to conceal it. You have to put your contour on, your highlights on it. You have to use your highlights, very light shades, to highlight the brows. So you highlight the brows, you highlight the under of the brow, underneath the arc, the underline. Do you see the middle part of the brow where it is lifted? That is the arc. So that is exactly where the arc is. And then you see how I'll put my hand here and I'll lift her face. I'll lift the brow. Then I'm drawing it exactly like this. So behind, I'm using concealer. In front, I'm using the same foundation I used on her face. So once you're concealing the brow, when I conceal any excess concealer, I'll put it on top of her eyelids, because that will be the base for eyeshadow. So any excess concealer I'll put on top of the eyelids. Then I'm following this exact motion as it is like this. So you're following a straight line in front, and then at the middle you take a little bit slightly up. Exactly like this, you take slightly up because you want that arc to be there. You want that arc. That is what you're looking forward to. You want the arc. You're using the lighter shade behind, and you're using the foundation in front. So you're not putting too much product, but you're putting just enough product. You're using your foundation in front and the lighter shade of concealer behind. Once you're done with that, you will now come on top and you do the same thing you did under, you do it on top. So in front, you're drawing like a straight line, using your brush, and you're following a straight line. When you're coming on top, you don't use too much foundation, because on top here, you're using half foundation. You're not using concealer on top of the brow. You're using foundation. So you're drawing exactly like this. You're following a straight line from front to the arc. At the arc, you take the line a little bit up, as high as the arc is. So I'm following this exact straight line. Just see how I'm doing it straight up. At the arc, I'm following up, and then when I come to the back, you are making sure you're concealing and it cuts a little bit into the brow, because you want the back to be thinner. You want the back to be the thinnest on her face. When you're doing this, if you see that the arc is not as elevated as you want it to be, because the arc has to be very elevated. If the arc is not too elevated, you have to apply a little bit of, you take your brown pencil and you apply some on top to make sure the arc is elevated. This is the arc. The arc is this part that is more elevated than the rest of the brow. and make sure you put your hand on your client's face to lift up their eyebrow. You are lifting it up so it is easier for you to draw. The end of the brows has to be smaller than every part of the brow. It has to be very small, not too small, but smaller than every part of the brow. So once you're doing this, normally I draw one side, I draw underneath the left eye, and I go and draw the underneath the right eye before I come now, and then I conceal the topper part of each brow. So once I'm done with all of that, you use your lighter shade of contour in your contour palette and you contour it. You have to contour this part. This is how you have this. This is how you have underneath of the brow that is very warm. It has that warmth on it. You want to make sure you have that warmth. So I'm using a foundation brush that is not too fluffy. It's fluffy but small. So I'm using it to conceal underneath.